Hello, my friends. How are you today? We are here on Sewing in Slippers with Sue, and today I have a very special presentation for you. Yesterday, we had our first session of the Applique Designers Club at our Ahead of the Curve membership, and it was so much fun. We had such a great time planning and figuring out what we are going to do in our Applique Designers Club. So if you are interested in designing your own applique quilts, this is a wonderful Sewing in Slippers session for you. We are going to be announcing our 2024 Applique Design Challenge. So stick around. I want to show you what that's all about. Now, I've been working on a presentation of our 2018 challenge quilts. I worked on it this morning. I didn't quite get it finished, but that's okay. I'm going to show it to you anyway. Then I will polish it up and I will add that presentation onto our website so that everybody will be able to see the presentation in its entirety. I still have some names to fill in. I still have our winners to put some ribbons on in the software, but I just, as an informal introduction to our Applique Design Challenge, I want to go through some of the quilts that were entered last year. And maybe you can help me out by letting me finish up and add those names to the quilts. I didn't quite get it finished this morning, so if you give me a little bit of your grace, I'll be happy to share all of those beautiful quilts with you. Now, as we took a big long break from our Applique Design Challenge, we ran it in 2018, and we're going to have another design challenge this year, 2024. That was a 5-year hiatus from doing the challenge. Now, we don't plan to do a challenge every year, but every couple of years, it's really fun for me to see who's using our tools and what you can create with those beautiful applique designs that you can make with rotary cut applique. Now, I'm here on StreamYard, so if you are putting a comment in the comment section, make sure you put your name with your comment so I know who I'm responding to. And there's Ellie online. Okay, fabulous. Sue is here joining Sewing in Slippers for the first time. All right. So you can only stay for 30 minutes before you have to leave. That's okay, Sue. These sessions stay right here on my business page, on the Sue Pelland Designs page here on Facebook. You can also catch them on YouTube, but we are going to be right here so that you can watch it later if you do have to step out. So don't worry about missing some of Sewing in Slippers. We do it every Tuesday here at 11 o'clock, and I am happy to be here with you. So let's talk about our 2024 Applique Design Challenge. Well, I just announced the Design Challenge last night to our Ahead of the Curve members. And now I'm going to open up the Applique Design Challenge to everyone here that follows Sue Pelland Designs. So I am going to share my screen with you. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that here. It's always a challenge when I move from one software to the other. So we're going to share our screen with you, but I also want to show you a presentation of the 2018 challenge finalists and tell you what's going to happen with our 2024 Applique Design Challenge. Linda Ivy is in the house. Wonderful. Sue is here. Good morning, Sue. And Mary Pop. Mary Pop, you didn't finish your sentence. It says I didn't. So I will love to see what you didn't do. So I'm going to share my screen right now with you, and that is my homepage on the website. Now you'll notice that the homepage has changed. Now it has our Applique Design Challenge 2025 announcement. So why did I say it's a 2024 Design Challenge and this has 2025 on it? Well, the challenge is going to be displayed in 2025. The winners are going to be announced in 2025. But right now in 2024, we have a full year to promote this program, to sell the challenge packets, and to get your entries registered here on my website. So if you do go on to the Sue Pelland Designs page, you'll be able to click on that photo, and that's going to bring you into our design challenge rules, what that design challenge is all about. So I'm not going to read to you all of the challenge rules because I want you to go to the website. I want you to check that out for yourself. And if you decide to join the Applique Design Challenge, you can pick up a challenge packet. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you all that's in the challenge packet. And I'll share with you how this all got started and where we are in the process. Now, this is a year-long process to develop this challenge, to get our sponsors, to get it scheduled out so that the contestants, the finalists, will travel to quilt shows all over this country in 2025 and 2026. So even though the challenge started in 2024, and the quilts are going to tour until 2026. To put one date on the challenge packet, I put 2025 because that's when the entries are due. That's when the awards are going to be given. And that's when we're going to be really excited and promoting and celebrating our winners of the Applique Design Challenge. So let me tell you what the challenge was all about. You couldn't get me on Facebook. Okay, so let me just double check. And Penny, I'm going to have you double check and make sure that you're on Facebook. Mary, where are you right now? Are you on Facebook or are you on YouTube? So let me know what's happening there. StreamYard has changed their way of streaming, and we're going to be letting go of StreamYard. We're going to be using Zoom for our future Sewing in Slippers episodes, but today we're still on StreamYard until I get the Zoom up and running. You're on YouTube. Okay. You're on Facebook and it's working just fine, says Bev Henyon. So you should be on the Sue Pelland Designs Facebook page and it should be there. Thank you for letting me know. Carlene, welcome from Eagle, Idaho. Bev Henyon, welcome from down East Maine. And Sue, I sent to the groups. So you should also be seeing this live on the groups as well. Penny has shared it to the groups now. So you should be good. Well, okay, let's talk about our 2018 challenge. I'm going to share with you the presentation that I'm currently working on. It's not quite finished, but I think it's worthwhile for you to see. And I'm going to be able to share my screen and present that slideshow to you. So let me go and stop that share. Then we're going to present the slides. And we should be able to see the Canva presentation at this point. All right. So again, this is a presentation that I started last night. I'm not quite done with it yet, but I do want to share with you what I'm working on, and we can even finish it up together here. But while I'm doing that, while I'm getting all of the names organized on the photos, I'm going to be able to show you all of the finalists from our Applique Design Challenge in 2018. So welcome to the 2018 Design Challenge. I am thrilled to be able to share this with you. So in our 2018 Design Challenge, this was sponsored by Misty Fuse, Free Spirit Fabrics, and Quilter's Dream Batting. I think those were all of our sponsors. Here you can see the premise for the challenge. The challenge was to use one of these beautiful K-Facet Designs cameo prints. Now these cameos were approximately 10 inches square. And the challenge was to use the entire cameo, that oval center of this rectangular pattern, in your applique challenge. Then you were to design your applique quilt using that cameo as your inspiration and as your focal point for the quilt. Now, I know that sounds a little bit, maybe it's a little hard to understand at first, but once I start showing you these quilts, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I kept one of the challenge packets from our 2018 challenge. So let me show you what the quilters received in their challenge packet. And this will be very similar to the challenge packet that we are currently shipping from the Sue Pelland Designs warehouse. We're actually holding off because we're waiting for our Misty Fuse to come in from our sponsor, Attached Incorporated, who is designing a whole new applique challenge packet for us, and she's going to include a sample of Misty Fuse. So this was in the challenge packet. Now, the challenge included this cameo panel by K-Facet Designs. This one happens to be the blue version that you see there on the screen, and there were 4 colors to choose from. Now, because I was selling these at quilt shows, people could choose their own color. Now, that's not going to happen this time because I'm no longer doing quilt shows. So instead of choosing your color, we're going to be sending you a portion of a new panel. It's not this panel. We've chosen a new panel for the 2024 5 and 6 Applique Design Challenge. And I'll be showing that to you in just a little while. But I want to present to you the 2018 challenge first so that you can get an idea of how this all worked. So the challenge packet included the panel, and it included 2 additional fabrics that were to be used in the challenge. Now, these were optional in 2018. We're going to do things a little bit differently here in 2024. Also in that challenge packet were the rules, and those rules are right here. It was in the form of a little booklet that included your application form. Now, aren't we lucky we can do this all digitally now? So when you pick up your challenge packet from the Sue Pelland Designs website, that entry form is included. Your entry fee is included, but you can enter all of your information and upload your images for our esteemed judge to judge your quilts. You can do that now all online. So we're going to save money on printing. We're going to save the environment by not printing such a large entry form, but there will be the challenge rules inside the packet. So that was the packet from 2018. Now I can't wait to show you what our quilters did with this beautiful fabric from Free Spirit Fabrics. Now, as I go through the quilts, I will be labeling our winners. I have not yet done that. In fact, it's been so long, I'm not sure I can pick out the 3 winners, but I do have that information here in my folder, and we can pull that together so I can let you know not only who the quilters were, but who won our Applique Design Challenge. I absolutely do remember the first place winner. I think I remember the third place winner, but I'm curious to remember who won our second place prize. So let's discover that together as I bring you through all of the challenge quilts. And again, I apologize, the presentation isn't quite finished, but I wanted to share it with you here today, and I will finish up this presentation and post it on the website. So here was that challenge entry form that came in the packet. You're not going to get this exact entry form And I wanted to let you know that our challenge this year is once again sponsored by Iris from Misty Fuse. Iris and I go way back. She sponsored our 2018 challenge, and Misty Fuse will be sponsoring our 2025 challenge as well. So as I go through, I'm going to make adjustments to the slideshow as you're looking at it so that we can have this finished up and ready for the website. So here were all of the instructions. And here is our first quilt by Catherine Dossman. Now, the rules for the challenge were to use any form of quilting, whether it's piecing, applique, embellishing, etc. But you had to include some applique elements in your quilt that were cut with either the Leaves Galore or the Hearts and More tool. Those shapes could be any shape at all, even if you invented a new shape yourself, as long as you're able to show us how you cut out those shapes with the Hearts and More and the Leaves Galore tools. So Catherine used that beautiful cameo with the purple background, and then she added a pieced background with some applique on top. I just love Catherine's blooming hearts, and I hope you can appreciate how she took that challenge to make a 30 by 30 quilt. And I do want to point out, look at her beautiful binding. She used an incredible striped fabric for her binding that brought all those gorgeous colors together. And those circles, those are yo-yos. And yo-yos can, of course, be made with the Hearts and More tools. Darlene is here from Connecticut. Welcome, Darlene. Margaret Zimmer from Northeast Pennsylvania, and Sandra Kennedy from Northern Virginia. Barbara Kahn is here. Barbara, remind me where you're from. I can't remember exactly. And Linda Ivy, welcome. Excellent. So this was one of our finalist quilts by Angela Pascal, and her quilt is called Midnight Garden. What a fabulous use of that technique that we call orange peel. She made an orange peel border to surround the entire cave panel. So she didn't cut out the cameo. She used the entire cave panel. She used some polka dot fabric. Then she made a border out of orange peel and then an applique border on the outside border. That is excellent, Catherine, and congratulations on that beautiful quilt. Just fabulous. Another finalist by Jean Valancourt. This quilt is called Petals. She was picturing these beautiful roses in the cave facet vase that were going past their prime, and all the petals began falling. So I imagine that these S and Z shaped curves cut with the Leaves Galore tools represented the petals from that beautiful bouquet. Excellent job there, Jean Valancourt. I love it. Now, Lynn Tebow is a local quilter here in Massachusetts. This is her finalist quilt, and Lynn called this Arabesque Rose. Now, I love the way that Lynn took the original cameo from the pattern. So look at that cameo that she cut out of the rectangle. So she did use all of the borders on the cameo, which were required, those rings around the cameo. And she made this beautiful frame, and you can see how those heart shapes, she did the linked hearts on the outside. She set her quilt on point, and then she used that same shape from that heart shape to make a beautiful frame around the cameo. I just love the way that Lynn framed that cameo. It is stunning, and her choice of colors and the colors used from the fabrics is just excellent. So you can see that in 2018, we only required the use of the cameo, and we suggested 2 other colors. I'm going to be a little bit more strict this time, and we're going to require that you use the 2 colors that we are including in the challenge packet. The reason for that is In this challenge, we had a very specific cameo that had to be used, and that was the one factor that unified all of these quilts. In this year's challenge, we do have a fabric that needs to be used, which will unify the quilts, but it's not quite the same. It is your inspiration for the quilt, but the other two colors is what's going to carry the theme all the way through all of our finalist quilts. And that way, when it hangs at quilt shows, it'll be a much more unified display. It'll be a much prettier display, and it will really pull together all of the quilts so that they are a collection and they're not individual designs. They are individual designs, but they all belong together just based on the colors and the fabrics used. So we are going to be a little bit more strict this time with using the colors that are provided in the challenge kit. Now, this is a finalist quilt by Judy Damon. My apologies about the vase. I'm not quite sure why she's apologizing for this vase that Kate so beautifully designed. But what I love, what Judy did is used the clamshell pattern. Now, she made this clamshell pattern with circles. She didn't cut out clamshells. She cut out circles and arranged those into a clamshell pattern. It's a little bit reminiscent of my cave clamshells quilt, isn't it? But she made this gorgeous frame around the cameo simply by laying out the applique fabrics on that black patterned fabric. Now, her choice of fabrics is amazing. Who of you would have thought to use that black background? But it works. It's stunning. It's different and it's unusual. And I just love Judy's quilt. Now, she also decided to use yo-yos in her pattern. That border around her vase was made with yo-yos, which is stunning. And I think I know what Judy means about the vase. I don't think she liked the vase very much. She actually put another fabric over that vase that Kate had designed, and she changed the vase because she didn't care for it. So that's why she called it. My apologies about the vase. How sweet is that? Okay, this next finalist quilt is by Lisa Rivers. It is a quilter's bouquet, and Lisa used half circles to border the cameo. She chose the lightest color cameo that had a blue background, but she cut off all the blue, so you don't even see that, and she really made it her own. I love the way she used the crossing vines. The heart on the bottom was with one of the optional fabrics, as are the leaves. Now, Lisa did a stunning job, and I love the way she curved her corners using the tools. That is just fabulous. So congratulations to Lisa on a finalist quilt. Now the next quilt, oh my goodness, this is one of my favorites. But I will tell you, I was not the judge for this challenge. We hired an independent quilt judge who is trained as a judge. I have all of her information here if anybody's interested who judged the quilts. I don't have it handy, and I don't think it matters. We are also going to hire a professional judge for this year's challenge. I have chosen a different judge, but I have not yet hired her to judge the challenge quilts. So we will be contacting her and discussing judging of the challenge quilts. That will happen in July of 2025. The challenge quilts will be judged in person July 2025. So I will let you know how all that comes together. So this is Ginny Radloff. Her quilt is called Paradise Island. Now, some of you may know Ginny. If you're in the New England area, Ginny runs a quilt shop in Auburn. It is Apple Tree Fabrics, and Ginny is a certified Judy Niemeyer teacher. So you can see the influence of Judy Niemeyer in this quilt. Those beautiful paper-pieced starbursts on the corner work beautifully together with applique cut with the tools. Now, Judy and I have been friends for years. In fact, she used to quilt some of my quilts way back when. And because because Ginny is a Judy Niemeyer teacher, she sees the application of my tools to make all of those applique shapes on the Judy Niemeyer quilts so much easier. Now, Judy often uses vines, leaves, and flowers, and she loves those S-shaped curves to make beautiful applique on her quilts. And Ginny saw the benefit of using the Leaves Galore tools to do exactly that, to add applique to her beautifully, intricately pieced quilts. And I love this quilt by Ginny Radloff. In fact, it's one of my favorites, and it did not win a ribbon. So you can imagine the quilts that are to come. Let's see, the next quilt is our finalist by Margaret Barry. It's called Bloomspiel. Now, I love what Margaret did here. She took that Drunkard's Path block and the ribbon border and applied that to her cameo center. But she didn't just do a traditional Drunkard's Path. She made it look like stained glass. And I think the effect is just gorgeous. So congratulations to Margaret Barry on this beautiful Bloomspiel quilt. I do want to point out the ribbon. On next Tuesday, I believe it's the 13th. I'll have to just double check the time. I believe it is the 13th that we are doing demo days. And you'll find that right on my homepage of my website. If you sign up for demo days, you're going to find out how Margaret made this ribbon border. We're going to be focusing on ribbons during our demo days in June. So let me just check. Our demo days in June is at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock on Wednesday, June 12th. That's Wednesday, June 12th for our demo days. And you'll find the registration form right on the homepage of my website. So congratulations, Margaret. That is fabulous. I love that you use the ribbon. I can't wait to show our quilters how to make that ribbon in our demo days event this month. Now, our finalist by Janie Alonzo is called Floral Explosion. Janie, you may know Janie. Janie designs patterns with me here at Sue Pelland Designs. Janie is one of our employees here at Sue Pelland Designs, but she wasn't at that time. Janie was one of our certified instructors, and several of the quilts that you're seeing were made by certified instructors. Now, we are going to be playing with the idea of bringing back some certified instructors into the Sue Pelland Designs family. So if certified instructor training is something that you're interested in to really learn how to teach these techniques to other quilters in your area, to have a marketable skill that you could bring to your local guilds, you could get paid for teaching and for doing presentations on the Sue Pelland Designs technique, you are welcome to inquire about certified instructor training. Janie is one of our certified instructors, and now she's an employee here at Sue Pelland Designs, but at this time she was not. This background is a beautiful garden trellis design that Janie pieced, and then she, in an amazingly beautiful way, incorporated the medallion from K Facet along with K Facet flowers in all different shapes and sizes, and of course her green leaves as well. So I just love this quilt by Janie Alonzo. The piecing and the applique makes me so happy that those two go together, and it is a beautiful quilt by Janie. Now let me slide on over here. We're getting to the point where I don't have all the names on the slide, so we're going to do that together, but I think I've got a few more that are all prepared, and this is a finalist by Jude Shea. Brenda Johnston, welcome. No worries. No worries. She says, hi all, I'm late. You are never too late to the party here at Sewing in Slippers with Sue. These sessions are all recorded, and you will find the recordings stay right here on the Facebook group. So no problem whatsoever. This is a finalist quilt by Jude Shea. When Jude saw that panel with the K Facet vase, She pictured that as a stained glass panel that she had hanging in her window. So she attached the ribbon to hang that panel in her window, along with baskets that she filled with flowers and a vine trailing along the top of her window. So I just love what Jude did and a very creative use of that panel. So this is Summer Window Garden by Jude Shea. By the way, look at these beautiful flowers made from S and Z shaped curves. It is a tulip type of a flower, but look how intricate it is with lots of S and Z curves, as well as some standard leaves in the center. So just an outstanding use of creativity here by Jude Shea in her Summer Window Garden. Now, the next quilt was made by Shirley Tatro. Shirley used to do some of my machine quilting as well. She's a local lady who loves using my tools, and she used the Drunkard's Path pattern. Now, I love that she made hers completely different from our other Drunkard's Path that was in the challenge. It is so different. And look at the way she turned her corners on this quilt with the Drunkard's Path blocks. And look at the way she framed that center medallion. All of that was done by using the Hearts and More tools, and she did amazing machine quilting. She is a professional machine quilter, and she used the Leaves Galore tools to mark all of her quilting designs. Shirley's vase of flowers is a stunning example of what you can do with a little bit of fabric and a little bit of creativity. Now, I just have to gush over Valerie Lee's explosion of beauty. Valerie is a unique and beautiful quilt maker from Virginia. We've met each other several times in person. She was one of my certified instructors, and she had this beautiful background fabric that looked like it's lit from the center. By centering her applique on that gorgeous fabric, she was able to make this quilt glow, and it does look like an explosion of beauty to me. She used a lot of the S and the Z shaped curves. She used some hearts in the corners and all of the other design elements that you can cut with the Leaves Galore tools. Everything here is Leaves Galore. I don't really see any Hearts and More shape. It looks to me that she only used the Leaves Galore tools. Maybe those center flowers on the corners, maybe the center of that flower, that could be a Hearts and More shape. So I always want to know how you made those shapes. And sometimes if I don't see it immediately, I would call Valerie and say, just checking in, making sure you made all your shapes with the tools. How did you make that shape? And then the quilters would explain to me how they accomplished their design. I'm glad I've got your creative juices flowing, Sue. Sorry you have to run. No worries. Watch the rest later. Okay, this quilt is a finalist by Gina Zalesnik. Gina was one of our certified instructors who owned a shop, so she wanted to be certified to teach the Sue Pelland Designs techniques. Her quilt is called Secrets, and she made a tree. Now, you can't see the detail in this photograph, but I saw this quilt in person as it toured around the country in our traveling display. And that tree is all made with S-shaped curves, S and Z shaped curves. She wove those S's and Z's together to make that tree trunk, to make the tree limbs, and to make those the roots that go out under the bluebird. That bluebird is all made with the tools. So is the nest, the leaves, and even the heart that's engraved on the tree. So what a beautiful job, Gina. She saw that cameo as a knot or a hole where somebody would live inside of that tree. Just a beautiful job, Gina, with your quilt called Secrets. Now here is where I left off, and I'm going to ask for your grace while I figure out which quilt is which going forward. So I have all the photographs here, and when I find those photographs, I'll be able to put a name to that quilt. So this quilt was made by Donna Bozeman. Donna was also a certified instructor. I knew when I did this design challenge that our certified instructors were going to be the main contributors to this challenge. But that is no longer the case. Our certified instructor program has gone by the wayside because of COVID, where we weren't out there teaching. So even though once you are a certified instructor, you are always a certified instructor. You don't ever lose those qualifications once you've studied for that. I've lost touch with some of these people because they're no longer coming to our instructor program. So Donna Bozeman lives in South Carolina. I am still in touch with Donna. She's a lovely person, and I love the way she designed her frame using the vines and the flowers. It frames that center beautifully, and I love her choice of that purple background color. It's just stunning how she took the little purple bits from the cave panel in the very center, brought that out to the edges to really give a final, what do you want to call it? A final, an ending point to wrap up all of that beauty in the middle with that beautiful purple border. Just stunning work from Donna Bozeman. Okay, I know that this is Leslie McSorley. Leslie McSorley, I'm going to find your sheet so that I can get your name on here. Of course, it's the 2018 Applique Design Challenge. Now, Leslie won our second place. So I'm going to put here second place winner. And okay, we'll make those adjustments later. But look at what Leslie did with her quilt. She made a beautiful scalloped border on her inner quilt and then appliqued that down to a dark blue background. Leslie also used the ribbon pattern. So that is something that we're going to be teaching when I do my applique demo days on the 12th. So you can come to applique demo days. Leslie McSorley. You can learn to make that ribbon just like Leslie did on her beautiful challenge quilt. And the name of her challenge quilt, and let me get this right because it's a tongue twister. Let me get the name in there for you. It's called, my goodness, I think I need my glasses. I'm not even sure how to pronounce this. Dagverrotype. Dagverrotype. I'm going to need to look that up. I am sure that is a technical term, and maybe it has to do with the techniques that she used. I'm not quite sure, but I want to tell you about the techniques that Leslie used. So first of all, she did that beautiful scallop border in the light blue onto the dark blue. So that would be done by folding your fabric, cutting with the Leaves Galore tools. So you end up with that indentation in the sides and then the rounded corners. So I would do all of that with paper in order to figure that out. And she did such a beautiful job. Now, she took a old linen piece, I believe, or it's possible that she actually embroidered that specifically for the challenge. I'm not sure which way it went. I would really have to take a look at her instructions. But one of the things I love about this quilt, and one of the reasons why it is a second place winner, is because she used three-dimensional elements. So those flowers are three-dimensional. The petals come right off of the quilt. So they are three-dimensional. They're tacked down by that yellow center. Then the lace around the center panel. That lace is also three-dimensional. And of course, the embroidery is done, so it's raised because it is embroidery stitches that are three-dimensional as well. So daguerreotype is a photograph taken by an early photographic process employing an iodine sensitized silver plate and mercury vapor. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Carlene. Carlene is my, daguerreotype. Okay, I spelled it wrong. And that's a U, E, all right, UERREA. EA. Oh my goodness, you learn something new every day. Thank you so much, Carlene. Carlene is our researcher. She loves to research. So the whole process, that iodine sensitized silverized plate and mercury vapor, ends up with a blueprint. Not a blueprint, but a print that is blue. So that's why Leslie used this name for her quilt. So double check on my spelling, make sure I've spelled that right. But I love, love, love this quilt by Leslie McSorley. It uses so many different types of elements, types of embellishment, and all of the applique was done with the tools. So stunning, stunning job. Is it GDO? Daguerreotype. Yep. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you for being my editor. I do appreciate that. Now, this next quilt was made by Joanne Bertrand. Some of you may recognize Joanne's name because Joanne is one of our employees here at Sue Pelland Designs as well. Joanne is a certified instructor for us, and she does all of our shipping. So I don't have the name listed under Joanne's quilt. So let me find her entry form to make sure I get the name right. But I want to talk about Joanne's quilt. Joanne used piecing in the background. She used all the pastel caifs to make a picket fence using that, what's that method called? Lots of people use it to make a quilt that has that V pattern. I don't quite remember the name of it, but it's just using strips of fabric to build up that V pattern that she used for the background of the quilt. Then she highlighted that cameo off center and then added flowers to match. One thing I adore about this quilt are those flowers. She made a 6-petal flower using the Hearts and More tools. Then she put the 2.5-inch leaves over those 6-petal flowers with a big yellow center. The flowers that I'm talking about are these flowers right here. That was a very unique use of the shapes that I've never done before in my quilts. And I really appreciated the fact that she came up with this brand new flower design, which I think is absolutely stunning. Then she took all of those colors out and used another caif print on her border. So she has her neighborhood here and her fence in that neighborhood. And I just love Joanne's version of Bouquet from My Garden. Okay, let me just grab that and make it a little bit smaller so you can all see it on the screen. We're going to make that smaller. Good. So Bouquet from My Garden was the submission from Joanne Bertrand, and Joanne is one of our 2018 finalists. So let's see if we can get that all on one page here, and we'll be good to go on to our next entry. So the next entry, I'm having a hard time finding the maker of this one. So let me just grab her image so that I can see who entered this quilt. And if I can't find it quickly, I'll go on to the next one. But look at the stunning use of those vases on the corners. Once again, she set her cave panel into an on-point quilt. These quilts were quite large. These were 30-inch by 30-inch quilts. And because they were larger, it really lended itself to putting these quilts on point. So she and several other people put their quilts, put their panels on point, and I think it's a very effective use of that center panel. Then what I love about those corners is that she added the vases, and the vases are just half circles. Now, back then, we didn't have the rings and things tools. Nowadays, those half circles could be made using the 7-inch rings and things tools. The top of those vases were made with just plain old circles, and then the handles are half of our curved edge heart. So it's just a stunning use of all of the different shapes. And her name is, let me find her entry. Here it is, Linda Morgan Yatzer. Let me type that in so you can all know the name of this very creative quilter. I've got to unbury my keyboard here. Her name is Linda Morgan Yatzer. Whoop. There we go. Let's just hyphenate her name. And good. The name of the quilt, you can see how terrible I am at this. Penny is my typist. I am definitely not the one that should be doing this. Her quilt is Blooming Medallion. So Blooming Medallion. And all of you know I'm not a good typist, but let's go ahead and just turn that into a smaller type so you can all see it on the screen. And this is our 2018 finalist by Linda Morgan Yatzer, or Yatzer, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So let me point out one other aspect of this quilt, and that's the inner border. She uses that beautiful peach or salmon colored border. And then look inside there. Those are half circles, and they have half circles in between. So it's a half circle with a little half circle behind. So it kind of creates two rows of scallops, one on top of the other. It's hard to see in that picture, but it was beautifully, beautifully done. The other thing I love about Linda's choice of colors, look at that black border. Once again, who would think of putting a black border on that quilt? It's absolutely stunning. And then she took all of the colors from that border fabric as her inspiration. So the center panel had no orange color or salmon color. The center panel has no black, but she added that border that ties this all together. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. So Tina Viator, welcome from Louisiana. I'm so glad that you're here and that you found us. You are helping me create a display of our 2018 challenge quilts. We're going through and we're making sure we know who created each one of these challenge quilts for a slideshow that I'm showing you today, but we're polishing this slideshow so that it can be added to our website as an example of what you can do in a challenge. Now, this quilt by Nancy Sullivan, I have to tell you, this was a first place winner. So Nancy Sullivan won first place in our design competition. So this was our Applique Design Challenge from 2018. And Nancy's quilt is called Don't Put Baby in the Corner. Okay, let's talk about Nancy's quilt, and let's talk about Nancy for a minute. Nancy, again, one of our certified instructors. So our certified instructors were so inspired by this challenge because they knew already what they could do with these tools. And they knew how to use the Leaves Galore and the Hearts and More tools to make the beautiful applique shapes. So they were all about this challenge and they were on board in a big way. So Nancy was one of our certified instructors, but remember, this was a blind challenge. There were no names on the quilts when they were judged, and the judging was not done by me. It was done by a professional quilting judge. So Nancy won our first place ribbon in our 2018 design challenge. Don't put baby in the corner. I love her binding, which is a black and white stripe. That black and white also is used as an inner border. So I really love the graphic nature of this quilt. And I'm going to tell you that Nancy did all of her applique by hand. Now, I know hand applique is unusual in our circle. Nancy loves to use the applique method to do her applique. So she would use my tools to cut out all of her applique foundations. Then she would baste her fabrics to those foundations with glue and then hand applique her quilt. So hand applique is an unusual technique in my circle of followers, but Nancy decided to do this quilt with all hand applique. Now, Nancy works at a fabric shop. I'm guessing that she found more of these cave panels. Did you notice that all the vases are made with the same fabric as the panel in the center? That panel in the center is the only required part of our design challenge in 2018. But it looks like she went out and found more of those vases to use in her quilt. Now, the white border, look at the way she framed that quilt with that thin white border. And all of those are just half circles. And then she actually used the 3-inch curve to go into the corner with 3-inch leaves in the corner. So every shape on this quilt was cut with the tools, including those little vases that match the cave vase beautifully from the center of the quilt. So what an outstanding job by Nancy Sullivan. Now her fabric choices are all inspired by the center panel. Her fabric choices are just phenomenal. I love what she's done with this quilt, and I hope that you are also inspired by Nancy's quilt. Now this quilt is made by Alicia Cardoza. Now Alicia, one of our certified instructors. And Alicia is from Vermont, and she is still teaching the Leaves Galore and the Hearts and More tools up near in Vermont at her local quilt guilds. This is called Flowers for Chloe. Whoops. Oh my goodness, I'm not very good at this. And let's talk about some of the design elements in Alicia's quilt. So Alicia made some flowers very similar to what I like to do with the S and the Z shape curves. And this is the 2018 challenge. Okay. She took that center panel in the duck egg blue color and she expanded that duck egg blue. Now that panel was originally had flowers in the background of that duck egg blue. In fact, I still have that panel here from the original challenge packet. Let's see if I can find that to show you what the original panel looked like. But Alicia's more traditional. She didn't want that that panel. She didn't want to use the entire panel because it was very busy. She wanted something a little bit more serene, a little bit more calm. So she removed the cave facet fabric from that duck egg blue, and she appliqued the cameo onto another duck egg blue fabric. So she just removed all the flowers that ringed the cameo. So I think that was very interesting that she decided to do that rather than using the panel as is. Then she added the duck egg blue border with the cornerstones and a very simple, again, a double layer of half circles in order to make that outer border. So absolutely great job. And that one is by, let me get my, oh, my cursor's not coming up there. Sorry, I just seem to be disconnected from my computer right now. I don't know why my mouse is not working. In fact, I can't even, I can't even get the slideshow to move forward because my mouse seems to have suddenly disconnected. My goodness, I don't know what's happening with my mouse. Okay, well, that may be the end of our slideshow because I can't move my cursor in order to move that slideshow along. Let's see if I can use my arrow keys. Everything's frozen. It's just not working. So I'm going to shut down that share. And we're going to try this one more time. But no, it is totally, my computer is totally frozen. So here we go. What I'm going to do, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more quilts in that presentation. I will finish up that presentation, make sure all of the names and the names of the quilts are in there. You'll be able to watch that presentation when I publish it on the website. But we are coming up on 12 o'clock. So I want to take just 2 minutes to present our 2025 Applique Design Challenge. So this is the booklet that you're going to get inside the challenge packet. It has all of the instructions inside and all of the requirements for the challenge. This challenge will have a similar number of finalists. Until we get your photos of your quilts, we will not be able to decide on our finalists. So we have an entire year to get these packets out to you and to have you make your quilts. Then, when we have our deadline for the challenge entry, which I believe is the end of June in 2025, you will send in your photos and your description of your quilt. We will have our professional judge all of the quilts by the photos. From there, she will narrow it down to her top 25. We're going to bring those in person. Now, it could be 20, it could be 24, it could be 25. It really depends on our judge and which quilt she deems worthy to go on tour to represent Sue Pelland Designs at shows all over the country. So we'll bring in the top 20 to 25 quilts. We'll have you send them in. There will be a live judging in July. After that live judging in the middle of July, that's 2025, not this July, but next July. Then your quilts, if you were chosen as a finalist, if you were chosen to send your quilt in for final judging, your quilt will be included in the traveling exhibit. So when you send your quilt in, it needs to be available to tour for 1 year. That quilt will tour from September to August, and then it will be returned back to you. So the challenge fabrics, the most important part of the challenge. I chose this beautiful pattern, and the designer is from, she's from Spain. Her name is Estrada. Her last name is Estrada. It's Caterina Estrada, I believe. She is a free spirit designer. We have this panel for you, but the challenge is you're not going to get to use the whole panel. These are 20-inch square panels. And if you use the entire panel, you wouldn't have any room to design. So we're going to randomly select a quarter of that panel to send to our designers. In addition to that quarter panel of the Estrada design, we're also going to include 2 complementary fabrics that must be used in the challenge. Why must they be used? Because we want a display that's going to tour the country and be a beautiful representation of a collection, a art display of your beautiful quilts. So all 3 fabrics need to be used in the design. You can purchase your kits at SuePellandDesigns.com. In the shop, I have a category called What's New. So you can search challenge in the search key for our shop, or you can go right now to the What's New section of the shop at SuePellandDesigns.com. That's funny. It's back again. You can go to the shop and you can type in challenge or go to the What's New section and you'll be able to get your challenge packet. Now, these fabrics are roughly 10-inch squares. They're a little bit bigger, but some of them have borders on them. So they are roughly 10 to 12-inch squares of fabric, and you get 3 fabrics in the packet. If you feel like you're going to need a little bit more of these colors, you can choose a packet that has double the fabric for these 3 pieces. In addition to the challenge fabric, you're also going to get a beautiful fabric to use on the back of your quilt. This is a backing fabric. It is absolutely gorgeous, and this is going to unify the quilts on the back of those quilts. So when it goes from city to city on tour, those quilts are all going to look and feel like a collection. So you will get the backing fabric. You'll get the 3 fabrics that need to be used in the challenge. You'll get the booklet that explains all of the rules and how to enter. And this challenge packet includes the entry fee. So there's no separate entry fee later when you go to enter. Once you've purchased the challenge packet, we know who you are. Only those people will be allowed to enter the challenge. So good luck with our 2025 Applique Design Challenge. The whole point of the challenge is to see your creativity using rotary cut applique. Now your applique can be done with any method. As you saw from our beautiful 2018 quilts, we had hand applique, we had embellishing, we had embroidery, we had all different types of skills used in those challenge quilts. So I'm going to challenge you to put your thinking cap on and see how you can use the Leaves Galore, the Hearts and More, and or the Rings and Things tools to make some beautiful entries into our 2025 challenge. Well, everyone, that is it for me today. I'm Sue Pelland for Sewing in Slippers with Sue. If you want to know more about the Applique Design Challenge, you can go to my website. Excuse me, having a little cold here. It's at SuePellandDesigns.com. Right on the home page, you can click on that picture from the challenge and it'll bring you directly to the rules for the challenge. I'll work on getting this presentation straightened out. I don't know why it's not working right now, but you'll be able to see the last several quilts when you watch this presentation on my website. Give me a little bit of time and I'll get the slideshow out there. We'll probably do several presentations with this slideshow throughout the time that we're selling the challenge packets. Sales of the challenge packet starts now, June 2024, and will go through June 2025. The entries will be due in July 2025. So don't wait till June 2025 to get your packets. When they're sold out, they are sold out. We have 180 packets. Some of them have single fabric. Some of them have double the amount of the challenge fabrics. So if you want double the challenge fabrics, make sure you choose that option. All right, everybody, it's been so much fun. Thank you all for coming, and I will see you next time on Sewing in Slippers with Sue. Take care, everyone.